to send it. All right, gentlemen, please, the last ice again of the Maimer. So with the Kiddush of the Maimer is that in the end of the day, it's Isha Tazreea Tchila, which means to say that the deepest connection that in simple Pashut words, the Maimer is saying that the deepest connection that we have with God is not what God bestows upon us, but the fact that we're rooted in Him. That's what the Maimer is saying. So two Pirushim and why it's first and second, the layers and layers and layers that the Rebbe revealed in the course of the Maimer. So the conclusion is that the Machshava Atzmis that begins the whole process, that all of the Machshava, the Tainuk, the Eibishter has from Yidin's Avodah, that's the deepest connection. And the whole point is to reveal that Lamat. And all of the levels described earlier, the two levels of Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Avodas Nivroim, and that, without repeating the whole process again, we'll look at it, I guess, in the summary maybe. But Yesh Loim, we'll continue now, Vav, or we'll start again. It's the hardest. I'm not going to learn because we're not going to kick out of this but the point of the hardest is to bring out what I just said. It's not like it's understood till this Maimer. Till this Maimer was understood that the Avodah of the Matter is the Keli for God's response. That's how it's understood till this Maimer of Tazreea, Parshas HaChodesh, Chodesh Nisan, Tovshin, Chavhei. And in this Maimer, he's saying no, that's still external. It's not that our Avodah is achana for God's Gilui. Our Avodah, that is the deepest connection, because our Avodah is Olah b'machshava atzmis, before any Gilui, for any response, before anything. That's the whole tremendous chiddush of this Maimer. Isha kis Tazreea tchila, not as achana, but as the tachlis. Only way to unlock that is through Avodah and through the Amshachim Milamayla, it has to start with Chofetz Chesed, then it starts with Avodah, then it starts with Amshachim Milamayla, which is Pnimius, and then the third Inyan, as we said yesterday, in stark words, what emerges is, I don't want your Avodah, so I want you. That's tremendous chiddush of this mind, not your Avodah. I only have you through your Avodah. So the Avodah is everything. It's critical. It's not the Avodah. As we said yesterday, in the last Yerachim Shel Pesach. I don't want tefillin, says God. I want you to put on tefillin. Tefillin is insulting if you don't put it on. That's what the Maimon is saying here in very powerful words. But again, the only way I have you is through Avodah. So Avodah is a means for an end of the Tachlis. It's a huge chiddush. It's on the Ha'oris and the Alter Rebbe, look at the Torah and the Diyukim, and the Rebbe shows that the Alter Rebbe is saying it there too. Although it's not overt at all anywhere, except in the Rebbe's memory. So again, V'yesh the Kash is, we started this already, I'm not going to read it inside, we're up to. No, well into it, right? Okay, so the summary, where are we up to? Let's go to where we're up to. We're almost at the end. By what words? Huh? Yeah. Yesh the Kasha with the Rebbe Rasha. That's what we're up to. But up just below number 31. What he's saying is this: connect all of the above with Beis Nisan. Because what's Beis Nisan? So there's 2 days. Beis Nisan, in fact, is the first Shabbos of creation. Starts with Sunday, and then Beis Nisan is the first Shabbos. It's 7 days later. Chof Hey to Beis, 7 days later. What day of the month is that? So there's two opinions. Rabbi Shur and Rabbi Eliezer, when was creation? Nisan or Tishrei. The reconciliation from Tosfos, the Chassidus brings is that there's creation mitzad where God articulates within himself what he wants. Then there's the Peil and Mamash of creation. What he wants, that's Nisan. Playing it out, that's Tishrei. So according to the day, so now we're talking the day as it is in the Kavanah Pnimius. What do you want? What's the point of it all? The whole point of it all is only going to come out at the end of Golus. Tavshin Chavei. Chassidus. But what you want is expressed Batzmusai at the outset. Laid bare. So what's Shabbos? So Shabbos is the shleimus in the machshava atzmius of what he desires, which is Bamin Nimlach Benishmisayim Shel Tzaddik, which means Yidden. So it comes out, he just puts it in brackets. This is not the point of the Maimah. Chafei Adar, the Rebbe's birthday, that's the first articulation of the machshava of my tainug of Eden. And we understand because the Rebbe's neshama, and in the Rebbe's neshama gufa, that's the Isha, that's mamish Isha kisazir, that's mamish neshama Yisrael. In her is embodied neshama Yisrael more than in the Rebbe in a way. I mean, they're one soul, because it's the woman who determines whether you're a Yid or not a Yid. The Yidden are called Isha. So the Rebbe's and the neshama, who's the neshama klolis of Klal Yisrael, it's at the Rebbe as the Isha, are there kafei order. That's where the whole Inyan starts. But its shleimus is the Shabbos. Her father, Zayda. Beis Nisan. Beis Nisan is the first Shabbos. So now, so concluding, let's go to the Yesh Leimer, the number 30. So first he added that the Bria B'Peil also includes that first Gilui, the first Isarusa Del Eila of Kechofetz Chesed, which we said is completely transformed in stage 2 through Avodah, the Moshe we gave of the nice person. But now when he's nice to his wife, that's a different nice. That's the transformation of the Chofetz Chesed, or the builder who builds homes, beautiful. He builds a home that he's going to live in. It's all different building, different home. So that's the Gil of Chofetz Chesed that we learned earlier is transformed through Avodah. All leading to the third level. What's the point of the home? What's the point of the home? It's not a place where we do things. We do things. But you can do those things and go to the toilet and other places too, and have a shower. Fellas, on the mikvah this morning, it's a whole brushing teeth. It's a whole avodah. It's fine. You don't have to do the homie like he does it here. It's a whole avodah. Brings a peckle of stuff. Beautiful. Feels very at home. It's wonderful. But and that's what I'm saying. You can do it in the mikvah. It doesn't do it at home. You don't need a home to brush your teeth. You can do it in an MTC mikvah. So what's the home? Well, the things that you do there. The home is a place wherever you're one with your soulmates, your spouse, your children. That's in a good. How are you one? You share all these things. That's how you express your oneness. But it's about being. It's about being, not about performance. Hashem wants to be with us. The performance is the means by which he's with us. That's the avodah. But the end, it's silent. Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Kudav Yom Kippur, Yisrael Malka B'Chadoihi, absolute silent oneness. That's the ultimate. But that has to then translate in all of the activities and Dira B'Tachtonim of our engagement of our lives. It goes in Bepshitus, without the big dizov, poshet, big dilov and pshutim. Continuing that the Zesha Benisan Hoysa Machshav Livre Yeshleim. So big Kiddush in the Maimed. This that the Medrash says the Tosfos explains. Tosfos, sorry. That the Nisan is the Machshava. What's the Machshava? What's God's thought? The thought is what we're learning the Maimed from the Medrash. The Avoid of Yidden. This is not Pashut we're learning here, these connections. There's a Kiddush of the Maimed. That's what the Machshava is. With whom did he consult? Neshamas Yisrael. That's the Machshava. That's not revealed in the Bria. As we said yesterday, it comes out now, this Maimer, 5,000 years later. And what's based in this? Yeah, my Shabbos based in this, and that Shabbos is the Shlemus. Because the first Shabbos in the Machshava Atzmis, in the Machshava Atzmis, the Kavonas Abriya, we start a Chafei Odor, the whole process, the whole Talich in God's thought, comes the first Shabbos, that's based in this. That's the Shleimus of Machshava. Now the connection to the Rebbe Rashab and the Fidik Rebbe. We following all this? Yeah, Yesh Lakash is Gam. It's a way to think Rebbe says this in the Maimer. They should say it all together, but in the Maimer, somebody asked me yesterday, Bashir, because he's getting, he's learning Chassidus, starting to learn Chassidus, and he's getting kickback from his acquaintances and friends. They're from a Yidden. They're Shabbos Jews. So he's being taught, this is a Chabad interpretation. So this is a Chabad interpretation. So we started to explain, this is not interpretation, there are levels of Torah. Chabad reveals there's no interpretation in Torah. Interpretation means you read into. There's no reading into. It's Chas v'Shalom, read into. The Tanoim aren't reading into, and the Amoraim are not reading into, and the Rabbeim aren't reading into. They're all revealing these levels of Torah. And what's Chassidus is the Neshama. Now, just because someone doesn't mean it's not there. The human being has many layers many layers. He's talking, there's all kinds of things going on. All kinds of agendas, especially himself, as he's speaking. You're aware only of his gashmis and what he said, that's all there is, that's all you see. It's not different. And you're invited to go and explore it, Chassidus. But the Rebbe says something like this, this is like really, this is mining so deep that connection to base this and the Rebbe Rashab. This is a real deep gem. Pearl. It's a marshal of the Fidik Rebbe, pearls. See this, pearls in the ocean. Dig deep to find it. So what does he say? So yesh the kasha say gam in zeh sheyim beis nisno yim ba'ilula shad mor marashab, that based on this, and the first Shabbos in the Machshava Atzmis is the Hilula, the Yemilul Rashab. And the Yom, the Rebbe, for the Rebbe based on this, and it's not just the stalkers of the Rebbe Rashab. What Be'ik it is, the Yom Shabbai Huchta Chakad Mordechai Admo, in the day which the Rebbe, the Fidik Rebbe, was crowned, B'noi Yechido Shabali Lula B'Kesa on the Nesius. So based on this is the beginning of the Nesius of the Fidik Rebbe. Like for us, huge Shvat, likewise, it's stalkers the Fidik Rebbe, but beginning of the Rebbe's Nesius, he says in Order 32, L'hoir Mizan Halach Rambam, Shein Moishe Melech Ben Melech, a son, a king's son doesn't need to be anointed. It's a natural transition. Elim Kenosha Shemachleka said it was being contested than to publicly state, like Adoniyo, he's Melech, but otherwise it's natural. So that he's saying here that the Fidik becoming Nasi is a direct hemshech of the Fidik Rebbe without any process even. That's what based this in this. Stalkers of the Fidik Rebbe, and then the beginning of the Nesius of the Fidik Rebbe, which for the Rebbe, that's the Nesius. And how does the Rebbe see himself? It's the extension of that. That's how he sees all of us too. All of us. not less. That makes it much more. So continuing, so what is it? So what's the connection to the Barashab? What's the whole point? There should be revealed as the Eibishter beyond creators. We framed it yesterday, creator and beyond creator. Or the day before. Till Atzmo says he will conclude at the end of the Maimer. Now, how does that happen? This revelation. It happens in this Maimer. Chassidus. The revelation of the Eibishter beyond creator is revealed in the world. He said, not the Bashefer, the Heilige Bashefer. That's God beyond creator. So what reveals that? That's through the learning of Chassidus and spreading of Chassidus. The Pnimis HaTorah itself is beyond revelation. It's like an atzmisdik thing, relatively speaking. L'mayli Megili, beyond Gilui. In the words of, could be the Zohar itself, Sosim Doirais, it's the hidden, closed part of Torah. The whole point, it should be revealed. He just finished saying that this Kavanah Pnimis was closed. The Kavanah Pnimis said, I want you. It's all they want is you. That was a kavanah that was closed, and only he said. And it's only revealed in the end. That's what Chassidus is. It was closed and revealed now. And Chassidus reveals this truth. Through learning, Chassidus in understanding, that's Chassidus Chabad. Especially through spreading it out, and the kavanah is to spread it to the outside, but there's nothing outside beyond that. To permeate every dark place of the world, starting with the dark places of the mind. That's the first dark place. So we draw into the world, Elikos beyond creation. Again, the Eibishter beyond creator. The very essence of godliness beyond revelation. Again, revelation means other. We draw on the level of the Eibishter, but there is no other, and reveal that truth here. So there is no other. That's what hiding Giloi means. It's all him. So that's the connection with Zohar Shaykh the Beis Nissen. That's the connection to the Beis Nissen. Shabbos Adisha. The Ma'aseh Bereishis b'Machshava, the first Shabbos of creation as it is in the Machshava, in the Kavanah, and in brackets he adds Shabbos means Shabbat Shleim the Machshava, just like Shabbos completes all the previous days of the week. My name is Baruch Kol Yom Vayichalol Shamayim. So to Neibish's Machshava, the first Machshava of Beis Nissen is the Shleimus where God articulates. But Pashtus, what does he want? He wants Shabbos. And what's Shabbos? Shabbos is not doing anything. Shabbos is being. Shabbos is sharing ourselves with our family, with our community, with the Eibishter. That's what Shabbos is. So on Shabbos, the tachlis of it is articulated. I want to be one with you. That's what Shabbos is. That's a connection to the Baal Hilul to the Rebbe Rashab. Into his only son, who literally filled this place. So his successor. I will soon address order 33. Because in mid-sentence now, because why Dafka the Rebbe Rashab? Chassidus Bechlal. Chassidus Bechlal is the Gilui of Sosim Dairaisa, the Kavanah Pnimius. So what's the connection to Beis Nissen, to the stalkers of the Rebbe Rashab and the Fitke Rebbe and the Rebbe? Because through them, one of the feet of the Rebbe Rashab, Shu HaRambam, the Teres Achsidus. This was something that Chassidim said. The Rebbe quoted it. The early Chassidim, the time of the Rebbe Rashab, when he started Tim Chitmimim and the Hamsheichim, when idea would be developed over my Morim, Meseidim, Mesudah, Barichas, and laid it all out. So the Zikna Chassidim called him the Rambam of Chassidus. And the Fitke Rebbe accepted it, and the Rebbe did. So what's the Rambam? Dvarim in brackets. What's the whole chiddush of Mishnah Torah? In the brackets, Dvarim am is baidim. Things are explained. He makes it accessible to everyone. The whole point of the Rambam is that he made all of Torah accessible to everyone. The Migod of Cotton and the Rebbe Rashab, in bringing it down in Hasbara so profoundly, made it accessible to the rational, limited mind, you and I. Many of the Rebbe's Maimorim, as we've seen, are based on the Rebbe Rashab. I don't know the proportion, but it seems to me the majority. I don't know. Shouldn't say. Shechaim base. Yeah, look at this. Example to sich. That addresses at length how the Rebbe Rashab, the Rambam of Teres Chassidus, making Chassidus accessible. How? By bringing it down to Seichel. That's the first place. From there, the heart, from there, behavior. And especially, the Rebbe continues that this is in the mind is Moidig. It's Mugga. And especially through the establishment of the Temchitimim of the Rebbe Rashab. That Huschol Shlav Chodosh Ba'afotis and Mayonis began a whole new stage in spreading Chassidus, Tmimim, that will emerge and illuminate the world. That was the Rebbe Rashab. There's a cute little, remember Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah was a legendary chassid that came out of Russia in the 60s with his son, who passed away a few years ago, as Mashpia in Miami, my age. This guy was a chassid, Bal Mesidus Nefesh in Russia. By the way, there's a book I'm reading, friends. You got to get the book. It was called originally Samarkand, and now it's called The Eyes Are Watching. It's this thick. But every page blown away. The story of the Chassidim written by the Hillel Zaltzman in Samarkand, before the war, during the war, and post-war. Every page. In the back, they have their approbations. There's a Russian historian that says this book has to be a movie, and I'm telling you, every page is a movie. Every page is a movie. And there's somebody I never heard of really. There were unknowns. This guy Pil had the Kai of this one. Bali Mesidus Nefesh for another Yid, not just for the Yiddishkeit, but Gashmis for another Yid. I highly recommend it. This thick. You read 2 pages a day is enough. If you go to sleep at night. Moidig. So also Rosh Hashanah, there's a clip of him. He didn't speak much. Look at his face was enough. There's a clip of him, 770, Psitas Kistev. Wenn die Tim Chetmim on the ganze Welt. Not Tim Chetmim, there would be a world. It wouldn't be Yiddishkeit, Russia survived. And everything was built on that. There was also Abba Rebbe Rashab, learning Chassidus, understanding, and Tim Chetmim. And then it continued through the Rebbe says the Fiedike Rebbe. Started Afotzim Mamish, right? Spreading the world in America, North Africa, Australia, Israel. NASA Afotz Europe, so that Africa became even more spread. Shazu, all of this revealing the sosim that with the healed concealed, which is behemoth beyond creation, revealing it mamish chutza. Shazu afotas mayonis chutza hiachona. That's a preparation. Vakeli and the keli lo osimar to the coming of Sir, the Mashiach, Mashiach of As Mashiach, the Malka Mashiach. Referring to Mashiach, it's a paraphrasing Sefer Daniel. Sh'os tushlam hakavona, that's will be fulfilled. The kavona of Diri B'tachtoinim b'korev mamish. Now let's just see the last order first of 37 together. V'yeshloime shezuya machshava v'yeshloime shezuya machshava livri shoyse b'nisim kanal b'fnim. 37, what did you just say? That then will be fulfilled the kavana. And what's the kavana? The kavana articulated in the machshava to create Chedesh Nisan. That kavana is realized when Mashiach comes. V'yeshloimer, And therefore, this is like leading to the next sentence, and therefore Shazel Gama Kasher, that's also a connection to why Chazal say the Nisan Ima Geula, that Nisan together with the future Geula Asida, the Nisan Asidin, the girl will be when. That's a connection between Nisan and the future redemption, the Nisan Asidin Ligoil. Why? Because it was in Chedesh Nisan in the Machshavah that the whole Kavanah was articulated, and therefore it'll play itself out. Begashmis and Chedesh Nisan Lamata. That's the connection. That's a Ben Nisan Asidin Ligoil. Not just because it was the first redemption in Yitzis Mitzrayim, because in Chedesh Nisan was the Machshavah Atzmis articulated. Huh? And Chas v'Shalom. No, they're always bavod on that.
Please clarify.
Yeah, the Chas v'Shalom. Chas v'Shalom. That means the Inyan of Gula. Yeah, it's already, and it had started already. This Maimer, based Nisan. Yeah, or the beginning of it, and we'll complete it, whatever, either way it goes. Now let's have a look also at our order 33. He said in the Pnim, what do you say in the Pnim? He spoke about based this, the first Shabbos in creation. Now see, look at the Sichas Chelik Daled. There, he says, I have to look up exactly, but the Medrash says that the first Shabbos of creation, there was no darkness. That's why only afterwards they had to make fire, which is why better made him Aish. So, and that first Shabbos is the first Shabbos of creation. So there, Ella, this Maila that he speaks over there, the Maila of the first Shabbos of creation, that there was no affail at all, that's true also. Begashmi is the opinion that says when Chedesh Tishrei. They look at the Sichos, he's talking about the Maila of the first Shabbos. It applies both to Nisan and to Tishrei. What's the Maila of the first Shabbos? That first Shabbos of creation, like no other, even the days before it, there was no darkness, there was no night. The first Shabbos of creation. But our Maim is bringing out, that's true with it Nisan or Tishrei, that Inyan. But our Maim is bringing out B'finim, the B'finim is bringing out the Maila, the first Shabbos in creation, in the Machshavah, that it's the Shleimus of the Machshavah. Okay. Clear? All right. Let's look at the Teichen. There's a photocopy of it, friends. I told you we could look at our orders, but okay, we'll just go through the Teichen. Everybody has it? So, let's just read it. Well, pass me a paper. Oh, I found it here. Hapirush Isha Kisazia. Yeah, Pirush. So the philosophers, they say why is it Isha Kisazia v'yolda Zachar? That Leidas Azachar him izera ish di lo govar. She, because she submits and allows him, as it were, to be uppermost, that's why Yolda Zochar, which brings out not the mile of the Isha's Kisazriya, that's only Achona. It's really the mile of the Ish, of the Mashpia, which is Eibishter. So that Pirush, why does Atma bring it? Because it has truth. And it's in the early stages of Avodah, that's the correct model. That's, there's two Serus Delayla. The first one is B'chinas Chafetz Chesed. Before we do Avodah, that God sustains and creates, that's pure Chesed, and that is the Ma'il of Sarusa Delayla. And therefore, that's the reason number one, L'chein Maktim Pirzeh B'lakot Torah. That's why after it brings that first Pirush, B'chedesh Nisim with Geshes, Ma'il Sarusa Delayla. Chedesh Nisim, it's all about God's doing. Pirush Aleidesh Hazochem Ezera Isha. And the second period, maskona, that it's really all her, meaning the Shamas Yisrael, mishtalshel, that devolves ma'amaylish v'asusta l'tata, that reflects the ma'ila v'aravoida. Avidosim shel Yisrael, which is sheshor shel ma'ila gam b'chofetz chesed. The first ma'ila was that it's pnimius, but then he goes on to say it's more than, it's limited but pnimius. More than limited and pnimius, it transforms to chofetz chesed. Like we said before, nice guy, one thing. Nice guy to his wife and children, it's a different nice. That's the maskona. After Matan Torah, bring out the Mailas Adam, which means to say that Isha ki Tazreea Tchila in the maskona is bringing out her Maila. Now, in that there was two stages. Her Maila, because it elicits a deeper Hamshacha than the Chafetz Chesed. And then the third level is because of the mile itself, the mile of Eden itself. Again, not your avoida you. And the Remes besay the Shnei HaPirushim betchilas avoida, the beginning of the avoida, Melis Hazusa de Ladsata. Once the mile of our avoida, Mishum Shal Yoda, because through it, Nimsheches Hazusa later Mechinas Naili Yoisa, we elicit a higher, deeper revelation of the original Chafetz Chesed. Name Yamshachas Pnimis HaShaykh Lo'ilamus. It's all Shaykh Lo'ilamus, but it's Pnimis Oir. But then it brings out the Maila of the actual Avodah of Yidden itself, Mushish and Atmos, higher than the whole goddess creator altogether. Shachas Atmos. So you're not repeating the whole beer. Shaychus to you based in this in Yom Shabbos Arishan Lebrius Ha'olam B'Machshava. That's the first Shabbos of creation as it's articulated what God wants b'pnimius only to come out of the end of Golus. And that turns out to be that first Shabbos, the Hilul of the Rebbe Rasha, because he's the Rambam Teres Achsidus or Meyasitim Chetmimim, which reveals this truth Lamata, which is the whole Kavanah Pnimius. Began the whole final new stage of spreading the wellspring, which draws down the and that all begins where and how it's facilitated through Limud Achsidus. Okay. Maybe Hashem tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Tomorrow's 6 Fridays at 6. Sorry. You might